Okay, it's Nexus 9 review time and I don't want to lose a lot of time, so let's just start it. And sorry that there is no visual footage of the device itself, but I simply don't have enough time. So let's start it. Let's damn it. Okay, let's start with the design and build quality first. The one thing I think I have to mention definitely is bump gate. It is the gap between the back cover, which is very flimsy and thin, and the motherboard of the tablet itself. You can squish it down and there is this bump and you will definitely feel it. It is not the worst thing, it is not a deal breaker, and I'm pretty sure it will get fixed with the next couple of batches, but for right now it's there and it is a small quality issue, I would say. The same doesn't go for the flush buttons, but this is also one thing I don't like so much. They are very flush, they are hard to find, and you also have to press them harder than I would actually like them to be. So in overall, also with the back cover and everything else, the materials used aren't that premium and either. I would actually say quite cheap in my opinion. Okay, you have the aluminum frame, but you really don't notice it. If it would be some kind of maybe harder plastic, it would feel pretty much the same. Otherwise, in terms of design and build quality, it feels kind of chunky and heavy because it is so compact in terms of size, but therefore it really feels good in the hand and it's a comfortable size to use after all, because 8.9 inches is very nice. So in overall, it is good enough, but it should be better for that price in particular. Next thing in line is the display, which in my opinion is pretty much the biggest highlight here of the device. Yes, even before the K1, because the display is very sharp. Not the very sharpest one out there, but definitely way more than good enough. I have nothing to complain here. It is also very bright. The nice balance is very wise. It is not too warm, not too cold. Everything is fine. The black is good, not AMOLED level of course, but it does a fine job. Nothing to complain here. The colors are vivid, nice, very nice, saturated but not overblown, and I would say very good in terms of color balance and overall. The viewing angles are just fine, nothing to complain here. There is no light bleed on my version. I saw a lot of people complaining about light bleeds. At least my unit didn't have that, but what I noticed therefore is a kind of delay in terms of touch response. Everything I touched, especially on the nav bar, you even see on the nav bar when you hit, you see something happens, but it just doesn't react. Maybe it's a software thing, maybe it's a thing of the SoC itself, the K1, or it is a touchscreen issue after all. So in overall, I still say it's the highlight here, and it's pretty much one of the best tablet displays you can get out there. And in my opinion, it definitely beats the iPad Air 2, which I had in a direct comparison. It just looked more vivid and better, in my opinion. Let's head over to the sound, and yes, we have boom sound here. Is boom sound really that great on this device? And I have to say I'm not that convinced. Maximum volume is good, but not great. I would wish for more, and the one issue here because of that is the treble. Because the treble is very muffled and very dull kind of sounding. And I think if it would have been a bit more treble, the sound would have been way more clearer, way more present, vivid, and also make the device feel louder. In terms of bass, it is there. You can get a hint of it, but it's pretty much all, and the mids are okay. The speaker positioning, which you would think is great because we have front-facing stereo speakers. The one thing though is it kind of feels very depending on your hands, so it can reflect really well. Because just going straight forward without any hands, it isn't really that immersive. The minute you take your hands and get a kind of reflection, the sound gets way better. Still, it beats like maybe 85–90% of all the tablets out there, but it is not as good as maybe the tablet Z2 from Sony, and not even the Z3 phone. And I'm pretty surprised by that because I did a side-by-side comparison, and mostly because of the very muffled sound, I'm just not blown away by these speakers. They do a very good, very solid, very great job, but not as great as I would hope, and it definitely doesn't deserve the trademark of the boom sound. The Nexus 9 packing the K1 from Nvidia and also running on Lollipop, you would expect it to be the best performer out there. Is this the case? And in most cases it is, because apps run super smooth, super fast. Same goes for the browser, and especially games are very fast, and there is no issue here. It is definitely the best gaming tablet right now out there. But there are also a few tradebacks for that. One of that is the delay for app switching. Whenever you hit the recent apps button, there is a delay when you switch to the recent apps, and there's also a delay once you get into the app. I think it is a K1 issue because I see people talking about the same issue on the K1 Nvidia Shield tablet. So I'm not really sure if it's Lollipop or not, because there's also another thing. The transitions and animations on Lollipop, in my opinion, are just too slow and long. Even using 0.5x, it just kills the responsiveness and snappy feel for me. And yes, in overall, it is the fastest and smoothest device right now out there, but definitely not the most responsive one and snappy feeling one. And also it gets very quickly very warm on the back left side. No deal breaker, and I don't think it's an issue, but still it's there. So what about the battery? And I have to say, this is pretty much my biggest gripe because of two things, and these are the two important things. A full charge needs more than 4 hours. This is very long, because most tablets these days use about 2.5 to 3 hours for a full charge. But that's not the whole issue, because you need 4 hours to charge it. But the worst thing is you only get maybe 5 hours of screen on time out of this device. So if you maybe get 6, you are also lucky, but I had a hard time even reaching 5. So keep this in mind. I'm not impressed with the battery life, and it's definitely mostly due to the K1. So yeah. The big thing here to talk about when talking about the Nexus 9 is the software. We are running the latest and greatest Android Lollipop, but is it really the greatest? And I have at least to say, it is not the holy grail a lot of people thought it to be. Because yes, the design is great, animations look nice, and everything looks so well polished, but if you look a bit deeper, not everything is that polished. There are some animations that look a bit kind of out of place, and they are also, in my opinion, a bit too slow and need a bit too long. Even if you made them quicker, it just kills the responsive feel of this OS and makes, for me, it kind of feel more like iOS, and not in a positive way, because things move along so slowly. And I'm pretty sad to see Google did go for the way to make it more appealing in terms of design, but lesser for the power hardcore user that just wants a snappy feeling device, because this is missing. Otherwise, of course, you get a lot of great additions. You get lots of screen notifications, you get heads-up notifications, you get a lot of that, and I don't want to go into detail about that, because there are millions of videos out there that explain all the features, and I'm pretty sure you know most of them, so why should I cover them? Just what I'm saying, it looks great, but it doesn't really behave that well, so no, it is not the holy grail after all, sorry. Let's go to the recap, and if you made it that far, yes, I'm fully aware of that. I'm very picky, and I know this, most of my users know this, and I feel I kind of was more picky than I had to be on this device, but definitely because I had so high expectations. This was going to be my daily driver tablet for the next few months. But if you listened correctly, I said was going to be and not is going to be, because the issue is, as always, the Nexus is a device of compromises, but this time I actually have to say there are more compromises to make than I would have wished for. The build quality isn't the best, the display is absolutely great, the sound is way more than good enough, definitely. Performance is very fast and very smooth. But I like snappy devices. I switch through a lot of apps all the time. I'm a very fast app switcher and use a lot of things at the same time. So I miss the responsiveness, and I hope it will come with time, but I don't think it will. I just don't want to buy a device now with the feeling in a few months it could get better. If it isn't at least showing some potential right now, I don't see it coming anytime soon. Also, another issue is the battery life. It is just, I would even say, pathetic. 5 hours of screen on time, and even that barely, and maybe 6 if you get lucky. That is just not enough for a tablet, because pretty much every tablet now can do this. The software, yes, it needs a little bit of polish, but in overall it is very great, and I see the potential. It looks amazing, and if with a little bit of tweaking, I'm sure they will get the greatest out of it. But I'm hoping to see a little bit more responsiveness, feel, and snappiness if they can sort of kind of sort out the animation speed, because the animations and transitions are a bit of my gripe. Because I've known KitKat or all the previous versions of Android to be very snappy, and this mostly lacks for me. So would I recommend it for this price? Sorry, I have a really hard time recommending it, because it doesn't feel like 400 euros or dollars, and it doesn't really fully perform like it. In terms of smoothness and fastness and games, it definitely fulfills all the performance things you would expect from a $400 tablet, but no, not in overall. So also, Yes, the display, just because of the display, it is a great, but you also have to consider one thing, it is 4x3, so not perfect for a lot of media consumption. Personally, I definitely prefer this display, and in terms of the size, this is pretty much the tablet I would wish for it to be, because the Nvidia Shield tablet is a bit too small for me, and 8.9 inches with that ratio is practically absolutely my sweet spot for right now. But would I buy it? And as I already said, it was going to be my daily driver, and it isn't, because right now it's already back on its way to the shop where I bought it. And I have to say, in overall, as hard as it sounds, and I know I'm very critical, and more critical than I would have to be on the Nexus 9, but this is mostly because I had maybe too high expectations. It was supposed to be my new daily driver, and I had so many high hopes. I thought it would be snappy, it would be fast, and pretty much else would be on par with the best right now out there, but it just isn't. But don't get me wrong, right now, in my opinion, it is still, besides all what I said, the best tablet right now out there. Not really worth the $400 or more, in my opinion. It would be definitely the best $300 tablet, or maybe $350, and I would say definitely get it. But for $400 and more, I have a bit of hard time getting it myself, because I'm just tired of all the compromise, and that's why the Nexus 9 won't be my tablet for the next months. I'm looking forward to see anything better right now, but still, it is kind of the best thing right now out there, but it's a bit sad that still pretty much the best thing right now out there still doesn't deliver the best satisfying experience I would like to see from a tablet these days. Sorry. And if you maybe noticed one thing, I didn't compare it to the iPad Air 2, which I also have, but I will do a comparison with it. I will mostly talk about the experience between those and the hardware, but not go too much deep into the details, because I know a lot of people don't like it to be compared to the iPad Air 2. Even though it should be, in my opinion. Yeah, keep this in mind. I will do it, but I'm not saying it is no iPad, that's why it's not good. It's Android, and Android on a tablet still doesn't deliver me the experience I would like to see. Yeah, sorry. Expectations unfulfilled, sorry. Okay, this was my review of the Nexus 9. I hope you liked it, even though it was a bit hard. Yeah, but if you liked it, you know what to do. Until next time, bye.